District Attorney Sandra Doorley, Todd Baxter, Judge Alex, New York State Supreme Court. My name is Chris Chichester. I'm an innocent man. This is the Freedom of Information Law that I'm going to read on this December 28th, 2022. There are 66 documents in here. You refuse to comply with every one. They're corrupt. My birthday, July 4, 2015. What do you think that says about life for anyone on a day? So, in court. Now, one syllable. See if my internet connection is still viable because there's something with the Wi-Fi. So that's why I'm looking down. Now, today, your offices received the Freedom of Information Law I'm going to read. This is UPS. This says here, no particular Renzi, Duke of New York, A#1 here, will refuse just like you. Well, I'm demanding a list of his defendants. Refused because he's corrupt. It's that simple. Regina Hart, and you'll see me again, Regina, not just walking around where I'm on nearly every day. You'll see me in a handcuff, or you'll see me in a jumpsuit, or you'll see me in the courtroom. You'll see me somewhere because Psychopaths Incorporated will just concoct it for me because that's what. These are liars and degenerates and fanatics. So I will be in jail again. UN, Mark Phillips, Paul C. Metz. Send me what's the defendants, you skinhead widow, because you're refusing. James Mully, send me a list of defendants because you're refusing. This is Mark Phillips. Thank you for your. This is Trinity Ross, the United States in Buffalo, and I sent it to our office in Rochester. Because I'm telling you, attorney, that you're refusing to just simply disclose the names of my prosecutors. I'll pursue disbarment of my prosecutors, but I cannot do that if you're refusing. This is Trinity Ross, Door Avenue. Sandra Doorley, you're on here, and stooge is psychopath Todd Baxter. Thing this. Tell me if there's sexual at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Todd Baxter. You know back where I told you it is. This is my box here. 361 UPS, Spark Avenue. Everything I'm going to read, nearly everything, I'd say about 8 documents. You've received certified mail return receipt where I went to USPS. These are the cards that come back to me. And everything I'm going to read, you received ago. That's what you see 2 days ago. 48. This is the Freedom of Information Law I'm going to read on this December 28th. It's called clarification. This YouTube. Because if you need me to clarify any of this language that for Psychopaths Incorporated, just let me know and I will. Because you refuse to understand the English language. And what I'm demanding to ask when I have language form requiring you to send it to me, because there's no other way to say what are the names of my prosecutors in a form question. And the corruption of this revolting little room that you love, Sandra Doorley and Todd Baxter, without a jury, without a witness stand for witness testimony, what I'd say before prosecutor, what I'd say before defense attorney defend 10 for 10 court, they refuse these defendants. This is not a list of defendants policy, that's just a joke. And when I finally opened it, the reason why I haven't opened it is I'm going to be nauseated by you, you skin widow. Jr. and John P. Lomenzo Jr. That's what I'm demanding, all three of you. $28,000 Paul C. Metzler, who's about 70 years old. Do you understand me? $34,000 Jr. Send me your personal financial and you're refusing. Just like Todd Baxter, Sandra Doorley, and Alex Renzi will refuse. The information law documents I'm going to read. Your personal financial disclosure. One of my favorite films is Philadelphia, where Denzel Washington plays Joe Miller, and Tom Hanks in his Academy Award-winning role, Andrew Beckett. And at the end of the film, Joe Miller about the law, and his reply is, every now and again, not often, you get to be a part of justice being done. And that's really quite a thrill when that happens. Now, let's see. So, court, and I've been in jail 6 times. That's why the law's a joke to you. You're violently attacking me. That's why I have this check out back. So you're employed with the last name Siemens, followed me into Penfield Public Library, another psychopath. He ran at me, held out his arm, clotheslined me, knocked me down. My head slammed against the ceramic tile. They took me down a hall. Paul Siemens was waiting for me. She declares me guilty of something that I don't know even to this day. And I'm driven to Livingston County Jail in Geneseo. Todd Baxter, this we're going to have to answer for the United States Department of Justice. I'm confident they will answer this. Why is this citizen of Monroe County and Livingston County? Do you know why, Todd Baxter? Because I would be attacked by your own Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees that work at the jail. So that's what I was told by a Livingston County Jail employee. Do not be safe at Monroe County Jail because we did to the Sheriff's Office. That's what I was told. What you did to the Sheriff's Office. And what I did to the Sheriff's Office is read your salaries. I'm going to demand your payrolls, Todd Baxter and Sandra Doorley, in a 6-month period since January 1, 2018, so I can see how you deliver raises. And I know you're refusing, and you're going to receive this in the next 2 weeks. And then when I contact Controller Thomas McNapley, after I sent this to you, I speak 3 times. I'll say 3 times I'm demanding the payroll for the Sheriff of Monroe County and the District Attorney of Monroe County, 6-month period since January 2018, and they're refusing. Can you ask these 2 for it? And I'm going to encourage him to look at your entire budget, because you, Todd Baxter, have $0 Michael Radler on your payroll. How's that explained? Are you paying him private money? I've said this over and over. And are you doing things with money, Sandra Doorley, that are unethical or illegal? I don't know, but that's what an audit will determine. So this year, you also received in the Freedom of Information Law I'm going to read, dated this December 28th, which is in red. On December 18th, and here's all your emails for Psychopaths Incorporated. And then you see the same thing again from me on December 22nd. Here's all your emails again up here. And then this is November 28th. So those 4 times in the last month, and there are other times too, you've received the Freedom of Information Law, where there were 66 in here. These same 66 will arrive tomorrow in your offices, and you will refuse to comply. So, Todd Baxter, I have to write a criminal complaint about my ex-girlfriend, Laura Riley, I've known for 35 years, and I lived at 3 different residences with, because she's simply refusing to tell me the facts and circumstances of my legal eviction, which requires a court order, and there's no court order. And it requires a court order to remove everything from my residence, take it to a storage locker in Webster, which she did. And I'm in contact with her. I've been telling her. These are crimes that she's committed. So, Todd Baxter, the obliteration of my life is where I have to write a criminal complaint about my ex-girlfriend taking everything I own to a storage locker when I don't know she's doing this. And then when I'm contacting and talking to her like I always do, saying, Laura, just tell me what happened, she's ignoring me. So what I had to get, because of her, is my DD-214. My original is gone. You know what a DD-214 is, Todd Baxter. Good conduct medal, Army service ribbon, sharpshooter M16, expert hand grenade, Army lapel button, air assault badge, Army achievement medal, Army commendation medal. Nothing follows. Why do you think I have an Army achievement medal, Army commendation medal, Todd Baxter? Because I'm the same person I was when I ETS from 1st Airborne Division 17 Cavalry on April 14, 1988. Why do you think that is, Todd Baxter? I'm that same person. It's just my life now has been forever altered and permanently damaged by your disgusting existence, Sheriff Todd Baxter. So Giuseppe Spano, because he's dead. That's why this came back. And I hope experiences a room temperature that's 5,000 degrees, and that's not even hot. So I'm going to repeat where you need to send this information to me. I'm not asking you. And Trinity Ross received this. What I'm going to read, the United States Attorney received. Then I'm going to contact her with about 1,500 words saying, I've been demanding this from you for 18 months. How do you, Sandra Doorley, respond if you get a call from the United States Attorney's Office, perhaps not the United States Attorney herself, and you're asked, why are you telling this citizen in your county the names of the prosecutors assigned his court appearances? How do you answer that, Sandra Doorley? It can't be answered because it's corruption. Corruption is Elliot Spitzer knew was client 9. So, 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York 14604. I'll repeat that more than once. I hope my Wi-Fi doesn't click off because something wacky's happened to it. What's justice about, Sandra, Doorley, Todd, Baxter? Are you so deluded that you're just going to talk in ridiculous metaphors about justice? Justice is about money. If I had money, I wouldn't have spent 5 seconds in jail, and I have been defended with honor, Mark and Regina Harper, yet money would empower me to prevent you from destroying my life, or I never would have even been in the vicinity of requiring the terrific services of the Monroe County Public Defender's Office, which is at a station in Monroe County where you can send innocent citizens to jail, given the power of your office, your fanatics. A fanatical district attorney can absolutely destroy a life. Just like director of the Grand Rally writes me when I don't know the grand side of my residence. $85,000 Don Benedetto and another staff with the last name who come running at me. Now pay attention, Michelle Crowley, because I've said this to you on YouTube. I never stop running. And what are they doing hot on Friday, my 72-year-old neighbor at midnight? So I grab my bike, run through the sliding glass door, but just as I'm about to run through the sliding glass door, Houlihan grabs my arm, the hammer goes up, I pull away, I run through the sliding glass door. It's simple. Michelle Crowley, you can be jury where you can, because Mark Phillips told me that Houlihan testified before the grand jury and said I swung a hammer at him. Do you know what I'm talking about, Michelle? And this is why I'm stating this again, because the new man perjured himself. The perjury is this. When you asked him, that's his perjury. Do you know what I'm talking about, you repulsive hack, Michelle Crowley? Or do you not know what I'm talking about? Because call $85,000 Don and ask him what he's doing walking onto the private property of my neighbor. What are they doing there that night? Michelle Crowley, do you know the famous phrase, you can indict a hemorrhage? Because what do you think I was when Houlihan was testifying before your grand jury? Do you even know? So, Michelle Crowley, you should be disbarred, which is what I'm going to pursue. And I don't know if you're going to be disbarred. I don't make predictions. I could sound confident, make an idiot can make a prediction. I'm just going to pursue you disbarred and do my level best to see that JD is revoked from you. My name is Christopher Chichester. I'm an innocent man. This is the Freedom of Information Law dated 2022. 66 documents in here. You, Sheriff Todd Baxter. You, District Attorney Doorley. You, Judge Alex Renzi in New York State Supreme Court. You, Paul C. Metz and James Jr. and Penn 4 will apply with every single one because you're corrupt. Freedom of Information Law. Contract signed by Sheriff Baxter to purchase firearms from Monroe County Sheriff's Office to include 1, the name of the firearms contractor, 2, the number of firearms purchased, 3, total amount of taxpayer dollars expended to purchase firearms. Does it need clarification? Does it? I'm not trying to be facetious or sarcastic or which I can't. Todd Baxter, you need me to clarify this language. You fail to understand, and you do fail to understand. There's corruption in contract for public officials. You can find out. How do you get your weapon? You have a weapon on you right now, Todd Baxter. That weapon you have holstered to your body came from somewhere. Who is it? How much did you pay for that weapon? How much did you pay for the weapons for all the sheriff's office employees? What types of weapons are there? What's the total contract? Do you renew it? There'll be Freedom of Information Law. The contract signed by District Attorney Sandra Doorley to purchase 1, an automobile and automobiles, 2, a driver or chauffeur for District Attorney Sandra Doorley. Office supplies. Office supplies can be anything. If you're buying things at the office that don't belong to the District Attorney's office, that's unethical. More importantly, do you drive yourself into work, Sandra Doorley? Because I've been calling you a diva for 18 months. And a diva is insufferable being nobody wants to be around, which is you. Do you ever drive up to your home in Webster and wait in your driveway, and then you walk out and you get in the passenger side, he drives you into the district attorney's office? That if you have to go somewhere in Monroe County during the workday, are you driven to that destination? What's the answer, Sandra Doorley? You refuse to answer because you're corrupt. If you need clarification from me about that foil, Sandra Doorley, Harry Duckles call one of your other corrupt hacks, one of you fellow psychopaths, I'll apply it for you. The number of employees at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Todd Baxter, arrested for driving while kidding. This destroys careers. In Albany, there's Washington Avenue, Western Avenue, Central Avenue. They all go to the Capitol. And when I would open up the Times Union or read line, I would often enough see a name I recognized, either employee, gubernatorial employee, or somebody that worked in one of the state agencies, or even a friend. And it destroys careers, DWI, especially if you're working for an elected official. You cannot work for an elected official if you have DWI. You can't. And I knew individuals that were fired immediately, even before the court appearances. And I do recognize that there is something wrong with the breathalyzer and how that can happen. And I'm not saying because somebody receives a DWI that they're guilty. I'm just saying to you, you pathetic diva. You refuse to answer because you're corrupt. Does he need clarification about what I just read, Todd Baxter? Sandra Doorley, I'm going to read this. Foil about driving on time for your office. If it needs clarification, let me know and contact me at 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, New York, 14604. Or you can call me on the phone and threaten me, telling me you want to get me in front of one corrupt judge, one prosecutors, one of your assistant district attorneys, one of your hacks, one of your ciphers. Doesn't have to talk. That's happened to me 6 times. Freedom of Information Law. The number of employees at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, Attorney Sandra Doorley, arrested for driving while intoxicated. Freedom of Information Law. I'm only interested in one employee, and he's at the Magistrates Association. This Alex Renzi, his $208,000 hack. He's one of the 18 at the hackocracy. And I said to him in my last appearance in New York State Supreme Court, because I'm trying to enrage him, "Are you an alcoholic, Alex?" And he stared at me with hatred. It's exactly what I was trying to him. The number of employees at New York State Supreme Court, 99 Exchange Boulevard, Rochester, New York, arrested for driving while intoxicated. He received this. I hope when he looks at, is he talking about me? I hope he does a Mo Green, do you know who I am, when he looks at that? Because that's exactly the way this guy thinks. Freedom of Information Law. Employees at Penford Town Court, 1985 Bad Road, Penford, New York, arrested driving while intoxicated. Do you drive, Paul C. Metz? Because how do you get in the office? Somebody carry you 2 hacks into Penn Town Court. Is there a stretcher? Disgusting room. And you just popped up in there to declare everybody guilty? Nah, Paul C. Metzer, the fraudulent, fake, phony quote warrant, end quote, concocted by you, gets $91,000 fat girl, Lee LaRoque, into my residence, which she exited with my chrome. There's no probable cause, Paul C. Metzer. This is a criminal act by you. Lee LaRoque, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, 27 Drive in Penford, New York, for the confiscation of the Chromebook owned by Christopher Chichester, the residence. Lee LaRoque, you $91,000 girl. Mail my Chromebook to 620 Park Avenue, PMB number 361, Rochester, 14604. When I contact Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, Kristen Clark, and attorney, and where is my Chromebook? Is your answer, Lee LaRoque, you don't know, or you do know and you won't return? You're trying to concoct crime for me and look at the hard drive of the Chromebook or examine emails. Did you read my emails? Did you go to the search history? What's the be answered? Clarification. This is so simple. Then let me know, and I'll write it in a different way. Freedom of Information Law. Total number of sick days used by Sheriff Todd Baxter from January 2022 to December 28, 2022, which is today. Is there a problem in understanding what I'm demanding here from you? Do go into the office. Are you a healthy person? 300 plus times a year. Do you have 30 plus sick days? For you, I'm sure, even though you're past 50. Now, this next one here, I'm reasonably confident I know what the answer is. Concerning likes to use her health. And the fact that health is decline, she thinks it generates political support and sympathy. I don't give a damn health, and I don't think any citizen should. And when you bring up your health, because you think it's good to sustain your health, And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm about to question if you have. Freedom of information, sick days used by District Attorney Sandra Doorley from January 1, 2022, December 28, 2022. Is it 10? Is it 20? Is it 30? Is it past 30? Is it 60? Do you just work from home? You don't have to worry about a sick day. If you're ensconced in your living room every day, Sandra Doorley, and your employees know that that's where you are, the district attorney's in her living room, she's in her bedroom, she's in her kitchen, she doesn't go into the office, then you don't have to be concerned about picking up the phone because you're at home. The number of minors on the public report, the Monmouth County Sheriff, this can remove from office. The accumulation of everything I'm doing to you with this document foil can remove from office. If you have 50 minors on the payroll, you cannot remain in office if you have 50 minors. You have to resign. I'm not trying to be dramatic. I'm not trying to engage in hyperbole. You cannot remain in office if you have 50 minors on the payroll. How many minors on the payroll? Is it 5? Is it 10? On the payroll I acquired on the page, there are approximately 15 individuals that are paid $10,000, $12,000 that I minors. And Miller has the same last name as Catherine Miller. That's a common name. I don't know. But you know the answer. You cannot remain in office if you have approximately 50 minors on the payroll. You will have to resign. Sheriff Todd Baxter. Freedom of Information Law. The number of minors on the public employee payroll, the officer were related to Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Minors, and then there's the nepotism. This is how dangerous it is to hire a sheriff's office or a district office. The number of minors on the public employee payroll, the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. Give it a son of your office. This is less of a risk for you, Sandra Doorley, and your future as a district attorney in Monroe County. You know what I'm saying? And your other district attorneys know if they have children on payroll. The number of minors on the public employee payroll at the Monroe County District Office are related to Monroe County Office employees. Does this need clarification? Are you confused? Because corruption requires clarification. So if you need clarification, I'll write it a different. If you're confused about what I'm demanding, if you don't know what I'm demanding, time me. You know what I mean. Freedom of Information documented by District Attorney Sandra to create a quote community unit within the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. I've demanded this 20 times, 25 times, pardon me. Why are you refusing? And why do you need this contraption? Why do you need Sandra Doorley's contraption? And the answer is, this is citizens are in jail when prosecutors don't talk to court. There's no answer. That's the answer. Sandra Doorley, if you agree with what I just said about why you have to form a conviction integrity unit, then attack me and explain yourself. And this is your corruption, where you don't think you have to explain anything to anyone in Monroe County. The minutes of every conviction integrity unit meeting at the Monroe County Attorney's Office, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. This is the clarification. Perry Duckles, bring us on minutes. Minutes are, I believe, required for every public meeting, but I don't know. But there are public meetings in state of New York where if there is a public meeting, which is supported by tax dollars and with public officials and elected officials, well, that's a public record. You can't just meet as public employees discussing public business and nobody knows about it. There's a twine in the assembly. There's a record of every committee here, same the House and Senate. Elected officials meet in laws, is public meetings laws, are subject to laws, is public meetings laws. Just about that fact. So, do you have minutes for your conviction unit, and where does it mean? I'll have additional questions, and you refuse to answer because you're corrupt. Freedom of Information Law. The cost of taxpayers for production of the Beyond Badge or MCS. That's a lot. You're not transparent. I have transparency right here in 66 pages. You're going to refuse every single one because you're corrupt, Todd. This clarification here about your behind the badge CSO, where you're in front of a microphone and one of your groupies, your Kool-Aid, your drinkers, your flunkies is asking you questions. You already know what the question is. Just ridiculous. This is what a joke you are when it's crime violence in Monroe County. You're in front of a microphone. If you're on this behind bed, you have a producer. So who is in bed? You have a producer. So who is doing this by yourself? And then you have to prepare for this too. This is a colossal waste of time that confirms your own corruption. And just like Elliot Spitzer, who to this day doesn't know he's corrupt, and he resigned on 15 years later, Elliot Spitzer doesn't know you're corrupt. Todd Baxter will never know you're corrupt. Does Sheriff Todd take compensatory time for employees that work time beyond the 40-hour work week that is not vacation time? The Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees paid. What's not to understand? This is the clarification. Compensatory time is when you work a 41st hour, and if you work 3 straight weeks of 60 hours, that's 60 hours, and it accumulates. 20 hours, 20 hours, 3 weeks in a row, 60 hours. You can get up to 500 hours, you can get up to 1,000 hours. So what happens, Todd Baxter, when you're on a 41st hour, time happens? Yeah, that's done. You refuse, and that's why you're corrupt. Does this Sandra Doorley allow compensatory time to employ work week that is not vacation time? It's attorney's office employees pay. You know the answer, Perry Dunkles. Bring that to your party switching boss who doesn't know and tell that I demand she send it to me. This can remove you from office. Your personal financial I've not yet located or been comfortable with language I can cite in it. But you know what I'm talking about. And then when I contact, this went to Trinity Ross. I'm going to contact her again in the next 7 days. And I'm going to write her perhaps 500 words just on this alone, saying he knows exactly what I'm talking about. The sheriff and district attorney, these judges, they know exactly what I'm referring to, personal financial disclosure, and they're refusing because they're corrupt. Personal financial disclosure of sheriff's information law, personal financial disclosure of district attorney Sandra Doorley, personal financial disclosure of supervising judge, New York State Supreme Court, 7th Judicial District, that is Alex R. Renzi. Personal financial disclosure of Penfield Town Court Judge Paul C. Metzger, $28,000. Personal financial disclosure of Junior, $4,000. How do you discipline your employees, and how many employees have you hired? Your office is such Kool-Aid drinking Jones, skinhead stooge, and party switcher, Todd Baxter, that you would put Brigadier, who committed a robbery on Ladder. Was he a disciplinary problem before he got to the point where he committed that robbery and you fired him? If you heard the phrase, the writing is on the wall, the writing on the wall with Brandy Gadis. And there's your blue wall of silence, just allowing him to exist until he got to the point where he committed a robbery. Heard another siren in Rochester. What do you think that siren's going to? So, this is the clarification. I just read here. The internal disciplinary records of documentation for your employees. The sheriff's internal disciplinary records of documentation for employees of the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, the District Attorney Sandra Doorley is reprimanded, terminated, disciplined, and employment at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. You should fire a district attorney who doesn't talk in court as a defendant is delivered to jail. That's happened to me 6 times. How's that happen even once to a citizen? Why do you think Sandra Doorley, on my 50th birthday on July 4, 2015, I got 2 speeding tickets, 2 court appearances where they're dismissed? I'd suddenly become David Berkowitz. You're just declaring me guilty with corrupt judges without your prosecutors talking in court, and those prosecutors should be reprimanded, terminated, or disciplined. Terminated is the decision that you should make. But I'm demanding this in a general way because an employee at the district attorney's office can behave in a way where it doesn't reach the point where you decide to terminate someone. How many employees have you fired, and do you fire people? Do you do the Trump you fired to your employees? You have somebody else do it. I had to demand this 20 times before I finally got it and read it. That's how I know on one page of payroll you had 12 employees making $100,000 or more. The name sounds like a public employee at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Todd Baxter. I'll write to 6-month period since your Nuremberg rally in January. And so I can look at the payroll and see how you delivered raises to your employees, and you refuse. If you're delivering $20,000 raises, $30,000 employees, just in one calendar year, you cannot remain in office. You'll have to resign. A list of employee at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office by one length of employment, years, the day, month, and years the employees hired. How many employees do you have at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office been there for 20+ years? How many employees do you have at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office have been there for 25? Employees at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office have you been there for 30+ years? How many employees at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? Be correct about that because that's just a guess. Be able to see when I acquire this information here. employment leads to corruption. You wasted your life. You don't even know it. The names of salaries, very public. Assistant district attorneys and do have private investigators. Because when I looked at the payroll for the first time, I think there was 45 to 50 names on there, approximately 50 names. And not every single one is an assistant district attorney. That's how I know you have your 15 employees that are paid $100,000 or more. Me reading on the same area of the sheriff's office enraged you psychopaths at the sheriff's office, the district attorney's office, which I was trying to do. And shortly thereafter, I was in jail again. Same thing, same question. Use the freedom of information for use and one length of employment years, the day, month, and year the employee's hired. Do you know who's going to be a number one on this list, Sandra Doorley? Length of employment? It's going to be because you've been there for 30 eternal years. Now it's done. When I contact Controller Thomas B. Denali, I'll demand this for 18 months. You're refusing. Total cost of overtime, time and a half, or what I'll pay base house count to the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Todd K. Baxter. Do you, Baxter, receive overtime in addition to your $1,599 salary? That can remove you from office. If you're fleecing attorneys and your salary is set in statute, you cannot remain in office. You have to resign. Total cost of overtime, time and a half, where I'll pay beyond base salaries calculated to Montgomery County District Attorney's Office, District Attorney Sandra Doorley. Do you have a place at District Attorney's Office that are paid more than your $200,089 salary? If you have employees at District Attorney's Office that are paid more than your $200,089 salary, Sandra Doorley, you cannot remain in office. You'll have to resign. This is sick days. Employees abuse sick days, and how's it done? I don't know. How many sick days you have? You don't have to pick up the phone. You can you communicate to an employee that you're not going to be in because you're, quote, sick. How many? Your health is a radical. I don't care about your health. And we bring up your health. It helps you generate sympathy. I'll question if health prevents you from fulfilling the legal responsibilities of your job. Your health prevents you from fulfilling legal responsibilities. Information about this office because you're in Jonestown. Total number of, quote, sick days, end quote, and total number of hours employed. Do you know what I'm doing to you? Have you figured it out? Supervisor Judge Alex Renzi, 7th Judicial District, New York State Supreme Court, refused to cliche that there is, just like Paul C. Metro, James Jr., these two hacks. The total number of sick days, number of hours, employees, and Pamphlet Town because of your health. That's what James Jr., as you're in the vicinity of 70. You two fossils. There's Montgomery County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, outside employment discrimination lawsuit. Demand this over and over and over. Compliance with it, District Attorney Sandra Doorley or not. With it, District Attorney Sandra Doorley or not. This is my prosecutors of silence. Because the 4th Judicial Department exists on East Avenue. The number of claims written or filed by defendants is $0 freak. Then your career in 2018 Sandra documentation fixed to a 2025 first charge, 26 Sand Farm Drive, walk through the park next to the building, lunatic friend. Answer the question. The cost for a photography session to photograph 10 Montgomery County Sheriff, approved by Sheriff Todd K. Baxter. Taxpayers of Georgia, Vermont, 19 stars and bars, whatever was not to for it. Freedom of Information Law, documentation, or whatever was not changed to 2000. So, where's the documentation for it? Freedom of Information Law, documentation of voucher or other ticket in a hotel room from our Sheriff's Office to travel to Atlanta on February 3rd, 2019. Does this need clarification? Sheriff, how much is the police tax? Ryan Fisher, German Sheriff Bowler during his trip to Atlanta, Georgia on February 13th. How much is for that one? Was the United States Senator, his name was Proxmire. And I believe it was in the 1970s where he would have what he called his Golden Fleece Award. Over and over. Go to Golden County, baby. And you refuse to answer this. You're grossly overweight, Todd Baxter. It's uniform, a joke. And so are half of your employees. So what is this? Freedom of Information Law. training standards requirement for the sheriff's office. Sheriff Todd could not pass the present Army training test, which is tougher than the old one. And half employees, 5% of the employees couldn't pass the old one. For information law, the number of criminal actions where an inmate appeared in court for criminal charge with a 20. If you don't have control on correction and all appellate commission refuse. If there's Monroe County Jail, and that's right for the inmate counts, then the commission on when he needs to investigate you. And will thing that I saw at Monroe County Jail because I was attacked, and there's no criminal charge. Freedom of information law. Does Sheriff Todd Baxter assign an arresting officer to every accountability circumstances of the arrest? Because when I'm at Wegmans, great Frank for everything, and a case 50 years ago when he was in the New York City Police Department, or even is the case now. I don't, both Democrats. Give me these names, Sandra Doorley. These are the names for Tradition Department, Freedom of Information Law. Menzel Jr. refused because you're corrupt. The list of defendants in New York State's $8,000 because he sees defective documents that damn allows the third, you skinhead widow Paul. That's her paper state by employees, New York State by employees. What's the answer? Are you going to tell Thomas P. DiNapoli, the controller of the state of New York, that you refuse? Yeah, because you're corrupt. Different way to travel outside county and New York State by employees because Ron Fisher was in Atlanta, Georgia. There was conferences out of that. Do you have your driver and then drive you to Albany? County by Super State Supreme Court outside Renzi. Duke number one court outside Renzi. Duke of New York 1 year. His $208,000 salary. And I'm going to tell about any trouble. This one Watkins Baxter ridiculed since I'm running out of time. I may lose my Wi-Fi. I have to rush this. I'm going to call a trip to Watkins Glen, New York by Sheriff Todd. First off, you spend tax dollars on a hotel plane ticket. $300 pocket there to have a good time in Watkins Glen. Information law total conference. And the final four, a whole suspension of tax dollars to attend the undersheriff's conference at the Gideon Putnam Hotel in Saratoga Springs. Only if you have undersheriff, and I think that's the case. Undersheriff anymore. Paid $131,000. I have to answer yes, not be a dog. For what you have done to me, what you've done to me, Todd Baxter and Sandra is destroy my life with fanaticism, corruption, and hatred. If freedom of information law documents, because what you've done to me, what you've done to me, Todd Baxter and Sandra Doorley is destroy my life with fanaticism, corruption, and hatred. If the information law documents need clarification, can at 629-813-6489 parcel, sir.